Dear participants, welcome to day 4, session 5 of 1 week national level online faculty development skill development program on Let's Communicate Effectively, Transforming Communication Skills. In last session, we have seen listening as a mother of all skills, and I hope you enjoyed the session. Let us move ahead and see the rest of the language development skills, that is reading, writing, speaking and thinking as well. In today's session, we are going to see how effective reading and effective writing also play very important role in transforming our communication skills. Let us begin with knowing about reading and how it is important for everyone, as well as how it is different kind of skill which helps us, along with, of course, as we have seen that listening and reading are passive skills, still how they are important and what role reading plays in the development of our communication skills, in the enhancement of our communication skills. So as usual, let's begin with taking overview and understanding the objectives of today's session. So first we are going to see reading, and in that we are going to see importance of reading, 5-hour rule, research on reading, purpose, benefits of reading, poor reading habits, different types and how to use them effectively, and how to be effective reader. Of that, 5-hour rule is really very interesting, and this is going to actually change our concept of reading and going to boost us. In second part of this session, we are going to see effective writing, its importance, why are we not effective writers, why we don't pay much attention to writing, how to write effectively. Now, of course, in this short session, it is not possible to cover all written aspects, all written forms. So I'm going to focus on paragraph writing, blog writing and diary writing, tips for effective writing and some of the useful online resources for developing our writing skill. In the beginning itself now, let me give you this task. Can you just pause for a while and think on the following quote? Do you agree with the following quote? And how would you interpret this? Read the quote and let me know what is your interpretation. First, do you agree that a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies? The man who never reads lives only one. If you are agree with this statement, with this quote, put yes in the chat box. If no, you definitely can put no. But when you are putting yes or no, you have to interpret. What do you mean by a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies? And the man who never reads lives only one? Yes? Yeah, you are correct. So what I think this quote itself, one quote is enough to give the importance of effective reading. Let me explain now. Very good. You have come up with your responses. You can even think on that and keep it in your mind. If you are not posted, no problem. So what does this mean? What is the interpretation? A reader lives 1,000 lives means if you have read 1,000 novels, definitely you have lived 1,000 lives, because you actually have experienced the characters of that particular novel, the characters of that particular drama, that particular play, and that is why it is living of thousands of lives. So when you read any book, you actually live the characters of that book. That is why it is called you live various lives. You will not get that experience. You may not get all that experience in your single life. So you read the books and you understand that this is the human life. This may happen with me also, or this may happen with people also. If you find something is happening, you can correlate easily. It is happening because it is life. If you are not reading, you are just experiencing your own one life. And that is, you will definitely live only one life because you have not experienced the world, because you have not read. That is the importance of reading. With this, let us begin our today's session and know about effective reading. Now, deliberately I have taken this first so that we understand actually what this is, and we will start working on this. So what is 5-hour rule? How many of you are aware about this? 5-hour rule. Have you heard? Have you read somewhere? My students definitely may be knowing about this, but do they remember? Let me see. What is 5-hour rule? So it is very interesting, and I request all of you pay attention and listen it carefully. It is going to be very useful for everyone. So what is it? If you are not spending 5 hours per week learning, reading, you are being irresponsible. Who has said this? We will see, but look at the statement. What it says: if you are not spending 5 hours per week, that is 1 hour every day, in learning, and particularly the best way of learning is reading. If you are not doing that, it means you are being irresponsible. You are not fulfilling your responsibility. You are not a good citizen of that nation. If you are not reading, if you are not learning. Who has said that, when and why? Look at this. The 5-hour rule was coined by Michael Simmons, the founder of Impact. What is Impact? Go and find out on internet. It is a very, very good entrepreneur's website, and the Michael Simmons is a very good and well-known successful entrepreneur. So he coined this. No matter how busy successful people are, look at this, no matter how busy successful people are, they always spend at least an hour a day or 5 hours a work week learning or practicing. And they do this across their entire career, not only till they got their degree, not only till they got their research done, even not only in the initial part of their career. No, entire career they have been using. Who? The successful people. When I use this term, and that's why I have made it red, successful people, there is a difference. We feel that we are successful. No, we are actually living the routine life. We are actually doing the routine things. Successful people are different. And I know the definition of success is person specific. What is success for me definitely will be different for you. But what we all commonly accept as a success, we have some of the people whom we consider as the most successful. It is their habit. They spend at least 1 hour every day in reading, in learning things. Let me give you these 3 great examples. Example of Obama, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. What is that? So Barack Obama, the former president of the USA, read an hour a day while in his office in the White House. Do you know this? Mr. Obama was having 1 hour called as reading hour even in the White House, and during that hour all the work was stopped. The doors of his office used to be closed, and it is known as reading hour. In that nobody disturbed him. After that 1 hour he used to continue the business and continue the next, let us say, part of his work. Now, if Barack Obama, the busiest person, can have 1 hour every day, where are we? Next, Bill Gates, the world's richest person, reads a book a week during his career. He has been reading a book every week, he has fixed. And to our surprise, what he has done, he takes a yearly 2-week reading vacation throughout his entire career. We take vacation for what? For enjoyment. We take vacation. Of course, that is essential. I do not say that you should not enjoy and all that. But have you ever thought that we will take vacation for reading? Bill Gates used to do, he is still doing. He takes 2 weeks reading vacation. In that he simply goes on his farmhouse and he simply spends all his time in learning new things, reading. And the next, Warren Buffett. We have seen last time who is Warren Buffett. The most successful investor invests 80% of his time in reading and thinking throughout his career. There are 2 more examples. Elon Musk also is one of those persons who have been using 5-hour rule, and as well as the owner of Alibaba, Jack Ma, he's also one of the examples. He's also one of those 5 users of 5 hours rule. They all are successful because they are using their time, and out of that time, every hour, every day, 1 hour they are spending in learning and reading. And that is why Benjamin Franklin rightly said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So if you are investing somewhere else, yes, you will definitely get a very good interest. But if you are investing in knowledge, gaining the knowledge, definitely this will definitely pay very great interest. Now, what is that 5 hour rule? Does it mean that we have to simply read? Does it mean that we have to just read? And it does not mean that you are just reading a particular novel which is for only fun and you are getting your purpose fulfilled. No, that is not 5 hour rule. It is learning something different, experiencing, and it is interpreted like 5 hour. In 5 hour, what you are supposed to do? Read. You have to reflect on that and try to experiment your learnings. It is not simply learning and increasing your knowledge. And the same thing, in 5 hours itself, you are supposed to do these things. You have to read, let us say for you have read it every day for 30-45 minutes. 5-10 minutes you are reflecting on what you have read. It is very important. Reflecting, just thinking what you have read and how it is relevant to you. And experimenting. If you have found something new, maybe from technical book, maybe from general book, maybe from literature, try to experiment, try to use that knowledge, and that is 5 hour rule. I hope you have found it interesting and you will start using this. Go on internet, find more about 5 hour rule, how it is used. There are so many very good articles on that, and you can even start, you can join some of the clubs which are run with this particular name. That will definitely help you. Let's move ahead. Now, research on reading, what research says about reading, and then we will move to the next part. Thomas Corley, one of the researchers, what he has done a 5-year study of more than 200 self-made millionaires. The people who are self-made millionaires, nobody pushed them. How many? 200 throughout the world. He studied them for 5 years and found that 86% of them read. 86% of them read, but not just for fun. Of course, it is not just for fun. They read it to transform their personality. They read it to transform their career. Next, Maddox, a productivity expert, writes, it's not secret now that successful people read. So now we have also made it clear that successful person means a very good reader, a vast reader. So it is not secret that successful people read. The average millionaire is said to read 2 or more books per month. Books, I'm talking about books. Read blogs, news sites, fiction and non-fiction during downtime so you can soak in more information. What Maddox says, so it is not necessary that books you are supposed to just read. Blogs, read newspapers, news sites, fiction, non-fiction during downtime. That is whenever you find that you are free, like you are traveling, you are waiting for someone, you have idle time, that is downtime, so you can soak in more knowledge. Always, all those, you must have observed that some of the people, if you are at railway station or at airport, definitely there are some people who are busy in reading. Why? Don't they get time at home? Definitely they get, but that is downtime which is just wasted. So they utilize that for reading. When you are sitting idle, you don't have work, definitely you have to use that. When you are traveling, use that. But specifically, you have to find out some time for reading. If you are frequently on the go, if suppose you are just going and you are always traveling, listen to audiobooks or podcasts. Now, this is the great facility available these days. Not necessary that we should have the books, right? So listen the podcasts, listen the audiobooks. There are so many wonderful websites coming now with audiobooks. Why don't we just listen? That will definitely create, improve our listening skill as well. So that is research on reading. In my whole life, look at this now. Charlie Munger, what he says, he's a self-made billionaire and Warren Buffett's long-time business partner. What he says, in my whole life, I have known no wise people, over a broad subject matter area, who didn't read all the time, none, zero. What he says, in my whole life, I have known no wise people, good people, knowledgeable people, successful people over a broad subject matter area from all the areas and domains who didn't read all the time. It means they used to read, none and zero. These two are because to emphasize that really he has not seen anyone not reading. With this, let us go ahead with now and understand why we read, what are the various purposes of reading, what are the various reasons of reading, and let me give you task here, and what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to just put me in comment section why or with what purpose do we read. Why we read and with what purpose do we read. Put me in comment section. Why do you read? Reasons may be various, reason may be common, but put in comment section. There can be various reasons. Yes, go on putting your responses. As I have been telling, put the responses. Definitely this makes you get engaged in this learning process. If you are just listening, we have seen active and passive listening. So you may be listening, but that may be passive listening. I'm now expecting you to implement the strategies of being active listeners. So active listeners always respond. Let me see how many are active listeners in this session. How many of you respond? Yeah, okay. So there are, yes, what you are, yeah, correct. So we are reading for various purposes. Put on, yes. Okay, so let us go ahead. Yeah, I can say commonly there are so many common reasons on reading, the purpose of reading. Let us see and let us go ahead and see what are the various purposes. So look, before that, this is what, again, the statement, usually it is observed that only good readers are good communicators. Yes, we have talked about listening skill. This is mother of all skills. Definitely that is correct. But reading also is, no, listening, mother of all skills, reading, let us say, also very important learning skill, language learning skill, communication improvement skill. And I hope you even keep remember that these two are known as passive skills, reading and listening, and they are most neglected skills, and that is why we are not good communicator. What we focus on improving our speaking. We will see in next part of this session as well, but let me put it here again. What we try to improve our speaking skills. We go and join the coaching classes and training centers, and what we learn how to speak by whom, who is already effective speaker, who is a trained trainer. He is going on speaking, he is engaging you in activities, right? And we feel that after attending that 1 week session, I will become effective communicator. That will help, but definitely that not for being effective communicator unless you start on your own developing those LSRWT skills. No need to go to anywhere. This is going to help you. That is your own initiative, your own efforts. So why we read? Let us see the response now and some of the reasons, purposes. Of course, we read to get knowledge. The first one, to get knowledge. Second, to grasp a certain message, certain information. We want to get something and you just read that information. To find important details, to get important details from the reading material, we read. To evaluate something, to have a critical view of something, to analyze something, we read. For example, you want to analyze a situation, an incident happened, let us say last week, and that is published in newspaper now. So you read that and you evaluate, you analyze, you come up with your own conclusions because you know what happened actually and how it is written. So that is evaluative kind of reading. Then for facing exams and evaluation, yes, that is the purpose with which actually only we go on reading to face the exams and the assessment. And for entertainment and pleasure purpose as well. So just to get entertained, just to get pleasure, aesthetic pleasure, feel good we go on reading, and literature we usually read for that particular purpose. So these are some of the reasons. And for self-improvement, of course, why we read? Because I want to improve myself, and the reading is the great source for self-improvement. Okay, what do we read then? When I say we read, what are the things that we go on reading? So we read, of course, mostly books. We read books, hard copy or audio books. We read reports. As a professional, we read various reports, we read various proposals, we read newspapers, magazines, journals, and so on, which are related to profession, which are related to, let us say, of our domain interest as well. We read emails, blogs, messages on other social media, and etc. So these are the forms, these are the things where we read, and these are the purposes. Let's move ahead and now know what are the benefits of effective reading. If you are effective reader, what are the benefits? Now, who is the effective reader and who is not effective reader? We will see in the types. We will see in that is segregated in terms of speed of reading, and that we are going to see. But let us see this now. What are the benefits? If you are effective reader, what benefits will you get? Number one, it provides a comprehensible input from a book, report, etc. So if you read effectively, it provides comprehensible input. It is all round, all inclusive input from the book and report. If somebody says that this is a very good book, 500 pages book, and it is wonderful. If you read that, you will say, yes, I have read that book, and the book talks on this. The author says this, and it is really very useful to change our, let us say, this part of personality, or this is really applicable in today's society. If you read a report of 500-600 pages, you will get comprehensively what exactly is presented in that report if you are effective reader, and you can use that information in your further profession, in your other business context. Second, it enhances your general ability to use other skills, listening, speaking, and writing. Let me tell you here that if you are a good reader, if you are a voracious reader, definitely that helps to enhance your listening skill, your speaking skill, and your writing skill. How? If you are reading vast, of course, whenever you listen someone, something, somewhere, you correlate that easily, that yes, this is the statement, this is the quote I read here, or I read in that particular book. That is helping you to become active listener. Agree? That helps in speaking. Of course, if you have read much information, you can give the information to the public. You can give references, you can give quotes, you can give, let us say, the information from various sources because you have read well. And you will give the references and the examples which are contextual, which are need-based of that particular spoken context. If you are preparing your speech by writing and reciting and giving, okay, that is fine for initial stage. But effective speakers, what they have reading at their backbone. They have read vast so that they can speak effectively. And of course, if you are read well, you can write well. How you face the exams? By reading only. So reading, again, even if we have seen that listening is the mother of all skills, I'll rather again say that reading is also the mother of all other skills. So we have to improve reading. It increases your vocabulary. Of course, English, if you want to increase your, let us say, if you want to develop your English further, enhance your English skills, definitely reading is the way. And it increase, what is, when we talk about improving our communication skills, improving English, it means the base is improving your vocabulary, and reading helps you to increase your vocabulary. We read various part and we get various words, and we get the new words which we consciously are supposed to use in our daily conversations, in our use of English. It helps keep your mind focused and prevents it from unnecessary distractions. Very important. If you have read for 3 to 4 hours a day, you will never get distracted from your whatever work you are doing, because your mind, reading is, the way, reading is the task which can control your mind. Sometimes listening may not, speaking and writing, their active skills, they actually, when you are writing also sometimes you get focused. But when you are reading, if you are focused on that particular part, let us say particularly from literature, you will definitely have your focused mind. And I hope you agree with me this, that if you have read something for 2 to 3 hours, you will definitely get focused, calm and relaxed, and you will not get distraction. You will just concentrate on the task in hand. Otherwise, if you are not reading, you will be always in confusion, in dilemma, what to do, what not to do. I have to do this, I have to do again that. After 1 hour I will do this, after 3 hours I will do this, and always you are busy in planning. And when you are doing one task, actually you are thinking about the other task to be done, or the task which you have left unfinished, because you are not focused from your mind. Reading helps to do that. It builds confidence. Of course, needless to explain this. If you are a very good reader, it builds your confidence, and you confidently behave in the society, and you confidently go on communicating. It helps in developing various other skills also, such as making predictions, guessing, taking decisions, solving problems. Because as you have read well, it will help you to make the predictions. It will make to help you to take decisions in case of some difficulties, as well as if there are certain problems. Because you have experience, you will feel, okay, let me experiment now and let us do this, so that we can come out of this particular difficulty. Overall, effective reading makes you a nobleman and a perfect professional. So why effective reading? Because ultimately, if you are effective reader, that makes you a nobleman and a perfect professional. And for that reason, we must go on reading. Now, who should read? Is it only students? Is it only those who are pursuing their graduation or post-graduation? Does this mean that if you have joined your profession, you should not read? If you are teachers and you have been in the field for last 5-10 years or so, no. Everybody, every human being who wants to be successful has to read. What to read? Definitely, we are going to see. Reading the textbooks and books related to our curriculum, related to our syllabus is not effective reading. Let me tell you, that is need-based reading. Effective reading, it is going beyond that, and we will see. Yes, that is, of course, it is essential to read related to our profession, related to our curriculum and syllabus. But if we are keeping ourselves limited to that, we are not effective readers. We are readers. Okay. Now, why we are? This is them. We are going to focus here. Why are we poor readers? Why we are not effective readers? Number one, it is a passive skill. There is no training available on this as well, and that is why most of the people are not active readers. It is a passive skill and not looked at all, not taken care of. We keep it limited to academics. This is what I just talked. We keep reading, we keep it limited to academics. What do you read? You read your academic books, you read your academic notes, you read your academic VIPs, very important questions. We are just keeping that limited to academics, and that is why we are even from academics, we are not reading reference books. We are reading only the notes which are given by our teachers or which are available in the market. That reading is going to be helpful only to score well, not to develop your personality, and that is the biggest problem. The students don't understand that reading of those ready-made material is not actual reading, not actually learning as well. Yes, you go through that, you read, you understand the concepts. Definitely, if that is going to be helpful for you to get score, but along with that, you have to go to reference books and read extra. A person who reads only from the notes and a person who reads from the notes as well as reads from the other reference books, from both of them, both definitely will get very good marks, but the second person who has referred the reference books will implement that knowledge and will be a very good, successful learner than the first one who has limited to the notes. So do not keep it limited to academics. Availability of information easily on internet and in guides and notes. This is just I talked. What we feel, if I want to get some information, I'll simply go on Google and search this, and I'll read only the first result. Of course, we do not even go beyond the first page of the results of Google, and we simply read that the concept somebody explained on Quora or on other platform, and we feel that is the authentic information, and we come out. No, that is why we are poor readers. We do not read more than that. We do not go beyond the first page of Google. 90% of the net users, internet users, what they do, they search something on the Google, and the first page, 85 to 90% of the people do not go on the second page, third page, 10th page. Right? Only 1% go up to 5th page to 10th page, and actually most of the time the authentic information is after the 3rd or 4th page. Try this and read more. Do not be dependent on whatever information is available easily. And we feel that, guides, we have a habit of reading from the guides. As a student, we have read from the guides, right? And we are just reading from that and reproducing in the exams. No. Or the notes given by a specific person, a specific coaching center. So because of that, we are poor readers. Do you agree with this? I guess I'm making some sense, and this is common experience. This is not somewhere I have taken from somewhere. All this is just my experience so far, and I have just put that to explain why we are poor readers. Lack of intellectual curiosity. Of course, one of my friends has helped me in getting these particular information. So lack of intellectual curiosity. Why we are poor readers? Because we are not intellectually curious. When I read something in a note on internet, I simply read that and keep it in mind. I do not get curious. Okay, if this is said, let me see the original source and what exactly other more information is available on that source. We are not curious. We are only self-satisfied, limited satisfied, and we go with that only. That is why we are not becoming good reader. Right? So be curious. Always try to find out why is it so? Where can I get more information on this part? Lack of stimulus. There is nothing to stimulate you to read. Now lectures like these, programs like these may definitely stimulate you for a while, but that stays only for a short while. You may start reading something after this session, you will get the book and you will start. Just check after 1 week from now. If you continue, you have got stimulated. If you not, you are just like all of us who does not get stimulated. So which is the best stimulation? Self-stimulation. We'll talk on that. Then lack of consistency. That is what? We read it today, we'll read it tomorrow, but day after tomorrow we will find out some other reasons. No, I'm very busy in this, I have to do this task, then I'll think about reading. No. All successful people, even if they are the busiest people in the world, they find 1 hour every day for reading. I repeat it again. If they are so busy and they can find out, we definitely can find out 1 hour from our daily routines as well. We have to. Limited satisfaction. This is what I just said. We get limited satisfaction. If I understood the concept from one book, from one source, from my teacher's notes, enough. That is enough for me because I have understood it. No. Understand the same concept from various other sources. Go on reading more. That will definitely make you effective reader. Otherwise, if you are doing this, we are definitely poor readers. And let me tell you, almost 80 to 85% of we people are, following this. That's why we are not effective readers. There are 15% people who are beyond that. Even out of those 15%, not all are successful readers, successful people. There are also some reasons. Right? Out of that, let us say only 5% are there who are actually successful readers. We want to go in that 5% club to transform our communication skills. Okay, going ahead now, let us see what are the poor reading habits. Why we are poor, let us say, readers. The reasons. Why we are poor readers? Why we are not effective readers? The first reason is vocalization or sub-vocalization. What is that? What is this? Now let me just share this and share your experience also with me. When we are reading, right? When we are reading, what we do? We focus on the words and we have habit of vocalizing the words. That is repeating the words orally. Vocalizing is what? Repeating the words orally. Maybe in a very silent voice we are reading this and this is this. So we go on just vocalizing those words. Sub-vocalization is you are not uttering the words, but you are reading the words in your mind. What you are doing? Instead of reading it loud, you are reading in mind. Every word you are reading actually word by word. That is sub-vocalization, and this is the poor reading habit. we have been told to read, and some of the poor reading habits are actually the habits which our parents, our teachers have imbibed in us. The purpose was different during that time, but now it is time to change them. What are those? Second one, regression. Why we are poor reader? Because we regret. We go on using this regression. What is that? Going back and reading the part again. So you read some part, because of some of the distraction you don't understand, you go back and again read the same part. You again go ahead with, again you come back and you read. Do you have this experience? Everybody has. When we are reading something, we go on reading, we are comprehending, but suddenly we don't understand some part, some word, we cannot read some word, we go back and read. So we go ahead, we start again with the previous one. That is called as regression. That makes us a poor reader. That does not make us a successful reader. So what to do, how to read, we are going to see in the techniques. Let me tell you here only. Subvocalization, you should not, and regression, for these two, you should not read the words. You should read the phrases or read the words in groups. That is, you should have habit of looking at 3 to 4 words at a time and grasp the meaning. Going on the next group of the words and getting the meaning, comprehending the meaning, like this. So a line is to be divided in 3 sections. First, middle, end, and you have to simply look at the first section, second section, third section, next line. That and get the meaning. Of course, it is not easy in the initial part, and I appreciate that there are very good of the party. Some of the participants, they are very good readers, I know, and they must be using this habit, right? Reading words in groups. Next, poor. This is lack of vocabulary and linguistic competence. Because we do not have much vocabulary, we do not read, and once we start reading, and once we start not getting the meaning, we don't understand the meaning, and we just leave reading. That is why we are poor readers. Narrow eye span and the eye movement. That is what I told. Eye movement, we start from the first word till the end word, and again you start with the first word of the next line. No, we should not have narrow eye span limited to the words. We should increase the eye span, and we should only move our eyes as per the sections, first, second, third, for each sentence. Even it is beyond that. Some of the very good readers, they even have one look at one line and they grasp the meaning. Of course, it takes a lot of time, experience, right? And in just, let us say, 1 minute, they may finish the page and they go to the next one. Then putting fingers, pencil, pen, scale, etc. on the words or the sentences. This is what our teachers, our parents have told in school days. Put on your finger on the words and read loud. And we have a habit of that. It's okay. That was just during that. I do not say that was wrong. That was correct, because we were kids, we were children, and we were not having much, let us say, focused time. We were not having much concentration span, attention span, and that is why it is very essential to put on the fingers and increase the attention span. But we have cultivated that habit continuously, and still most of the students are using this. No, come out of this. Right? Do not put anything on the line or below the line or on the words. Just without taking help of anything, you are supposed to read. Next, head movement. Like eye movement, we have head movement. Like we go on reading like this. Suppose, for example, putting fingers, pen, pencil, scale, etc. on words and sentences. Head movement is one of the poor reading habits. We go on reading with our ears, with our eyes, and with our head as well. No. Head movement, no. You have to simply keep it straight and just go on reading. Lack of concentrations, so many distractions. Is this your experience? Let me tell you here. It happens with me also, and I'm sure it happens with everyone. When you start reading, after 3, 4, 5 minutes, you start getting the tasks to be done. You unfinished tasks. You start thinking on that. You start reading after 4 or 5 minutes. You go on reading and you say, you start thinking, okay, this is the task. It remained. I have to finish. All right. After that, I will read this, and I will do this particular task. Or you will feel you start getting very good ideas and your future plans when you are reading. Is it your experience? This is my experience. When I start reading something and I read some part, I start imagination myself. and I start planning, I start for the ideas. Of course, ideas do come when we're reading, but they should not be turned into distractions. Why we cannot concentrate? Because of these internal distractions, and there are some external distractions as well. We cannot concentrate because of the noise, because of some of the disturbances outside, and some of the noise in our home itself. That's why it is very essential to go to a calm place and listen and read, right? So we do not concentrate because of some of those external and internal factors. And internal factors, this is interesting, and we have to control them. Lack of motivation. Yeah, nobody is motivating, nobody is motivated to self-reading. Nobody tells us that reading is very important and this is the secret of success. I'm telling you, do it, use it. Physical conditions, sometimes because we are not able to see properly, sometimes we are not feeling well, and so on. These are also some of the poor reading habits or the reasons. Now, this is what actually I wanted to think about. Have you experienced those poor reading habits in your previous part of life, or do you think that you still carry some of those reading habits? Put in comment section which of these you experienced, which of these you still carry on. Of course, those who feel free can share, not mandatory. Share in comment section, in the chat section, live chat, or it is better to put in comment section as well your feedback and your responses, because in comments it will remain forever. The chat will be closed after the session, and I may keep it open for next sessions, or I may just close that. So which of these were your habits, poor reading habits, which are still there? Put in the comment section in chat box fast. Yes, so sub-vocalization, that is reading, either in a silent voice or reading in your mind, reading each word. Yes, this is the common. Regression, everybody does, correct? Regression is something which sometimes we also do, right? Narrow eye span, putting of fingers, I guess nowadays we have come out of this. We are not using this. Head movements is also one. Concentration, great problem. And the motivation, right? So yeah, so let us move ahead. So what is the solution? Do not do this. Overcome these poor reading habits to become effective reader. Let us see ahead now. Let us go ahead and now see about speed of reading and how it is relevant to improve our reading skill. So usually for purpose, what kind of words we read. So if we want to memorize, our speed will be less than 100 words. If you want to memorize a definition as it is, we read very slow and we understand and we memorize that. Yes, that is accepted. For learning, the speed is 100 to 200 words. For comprehension, to get the information, and the percentage of comprehension is again different. We read 200 to 400 words per minute. And for skimming, just to get the gist, just to get the idea, we can read up to 400 to 700 words per minute. In case of readers, speed and comprehension and the type of readers, slow readers 200 to 300 words, and here comprehension is 70 to 90%. We are just focusing on this, and we are saying again the speed, who are the slow, average and fast rapid readers. So slow readers, almost 80 to 85% of the people belong to this. Right? Because we always focus on comprehension and we read only 200 to 300 words per minute, whereas an effective reader can go up to 1000 words per minute. Average reader 300 to 500 words per minute, and the comprehension level is 60 to 70%. And the fast rapid readers, what they can go up to 1000 words per minute, and the comprehension level is as low as 30%. They do not want to comprehend everything, particularly when we are reading novels and the other literature for pleasure. We go on using this rapid reading technique, fast reading technique. We read very fast. Now you check your speed. Right, you just set a time and you read something and you find out how many words you can finish in one go. There are very good websites as well which will tell you your speed of reading as well. Let me tell you that one of my friends, when we were studying in university, who was my roommate, when he used to read, I observed him reading very fast, and he used to read so fast that even I could not read 20 to 30% of whatever he has read. Like for reading one page, I used to take 5 minutes of a novel, but he used to finish in 1 minute. And I have observed him using all those techniques, you know, the eye span, the head movements, not using any head movement, just eyes on the lines, finishing the page, going on the next page, 1 minute, 1 minute. He used to finish a novel of 100-200 pages in not more than 1.5 hours to 2 hours, for which I used to take 1 day. No, one time I tried with him. I saw him reading very fast, and when he read one particular page so fast in below 1 minute, I took the novel out, I read the page and asked the questions. Tell me what is this, what is on this page, what is doing that, what author is saying, and he answered all the questions. And when we discussed, I found that he had habit of reading since his school days. Since his 5th standard, he used to start everything, and he used to visit library, and he used to get the books from the centers, and he used to read. And that has cultivated his reading habit. Whenever, even if we were eating our tiffin, if you get a sheet of paper, he used to get it and read everything on that. So it was his, let us say, addiction. Reading was his addiction, and that has cultivated him. Now definitely he is working at a very good institute, at a very good post, because and still it is going on. So to be effective reader, definitely we have to have a habit of, we should check our speed, and we should work on increasing our speed to increase our reading speed and reading comprehension as well. How to improve then? Now let us understand with understanding the types of reading. So for improving our reading skill, there are various techniques we are going to see, but in terms of these types, let me tell you some of those. Skimming and scanning, use it appropriately. Skimming is just looking for the gist. You skim a newspaper. Do you read all the news at once? No, you skim it, just read the first headline, read the first part of that, and you understand, okay, this news is about this. You go to the next news. So that is skimming, looking for the central idea, the gist, and going on ahead. Comprehension expected is 50 to 60%, not 100%. Scanning, when you want to find out a specific information, you scan the source. For example, scanning of the index of a book, right? You get a book of 1000 pages and you do not read all the book. You want to find out a specific part. You scan the index. Yes, chapter number 5, point number 3, page number 350. You go to that particular page. That is the scanning of index, right? You do not read entire newspaper again. What you do, you just scan, from all the news, you just turn on the pages, look at the headings, and yes, this is the news I wanted to read. You scan the newspaper and you come to the specific information. So skimming and scanning, use it. It is not the case that if you are supposed to start reading, improving your reading means you have to read all the information. Try to skim the information, scan, and use that. Extensive and intensive reading. Extensive reading is reading vast, right? Your purpose is here, the quantity matters. In extensive reading, quantity matters. You read it vast. You read it for getting general information to increase your knowledge. Extensively you read, go on reading. Intensive reading, it is focused reading. Here quality is important, quality matters. For example, you read one chapter throughout day of 10 pages, that is intensive reading. And in studies, particularly in academics, intensive reading is expected for general purpose, to increase your knowledge, to increase your, let us say, domain knowledge. You have to read extensively. Intensive reading only prescribed book, extensive reading the reference books. Okay, so intensive, we are focusing only on limited part and our intention is to grasp maximum. Extensive, we are reading various sources. Our purpose is to get as much knowledge as we can. Use it. Silent and loud reading. Silent reading, of course, is the best way to increase your reading speed as well as to increase your reading ability. But loud reading also sometimes helps, because when you read aloud, right? When you read aloud, you grasp the message faster, because when you are reading silent, your eyes only and the brain is engaged. But when you are reading loud, your eyes, your brain, your voice, your lips, the organs of speech, as well as your ears are involved, because you are reading loud and your ears are listening. So simultaneously so many organs are engaged, and loud reading helps in the initial stage. That's why why we are told in schools that read loud, so that we comprehend better. Sometimes it is very essential for us now also. And let me tell you, in case of improving communication skills, loud reading is the best way. Because when you read loud, it helps you to, of course, comprehend. It helps you to improve your listening skill. Most importantly, it helps to improve your pronunciation. And this technique I have used. I used to read loud throughout the day during my college days. The entire novel also I used to read it loud. Let me tell you frankly. The answers, questions and answers, I used to read. Unless and until I read loud, I was not able to understand. I was not able to grasp. Or better, when I read it loud, I actually grasped that more. Of course, reading loud affects our reading speed, but comprehension is at high level when you are reading loud. So keep some time for loud reading and some for silent reading. Aesthetic or pleasure reading, for getting just pleasure, for getting entertainment, we go on reading this. And critical reading. So sometimes we read news article and some other published information, and we go on doing critical evaluation. So use these for your improvement. Now there are 3 levels of reading. What are those? Reading on the lines. I hope you know, some of you know this, but let me just explain. On the lines, that is literal level. First one, we reading as it is for understanding or memorization. There is on the line. You read as it is and we just look for the literal meaning, dictionary meaning, and we get the information for who is doing that, what is being done, how it is done, when, where and why it is done. It is simply understanding the text. Second, reading between the lines. Now we are at interpretive level where we interpret the author's point of view. And here it is expect to interpret, reason and classify the information, and we get answers to like what the author is trying to say, what does the text suggest to represent. That is reading on the lines, just getting the meaning. Between the lines, understanding what the author wants to tell us, right? What is the author's point of view, which is not easily found in the lines. We have to interpret based on various other contexts and then understand. And reading beyond the lines. Now it is at applied level where you correlate whatever information you are getting from that reading source with your outside world, with your real life. That is even reading beyond the lines. What is being said and how that is true in our real life, how that is useful for me in my real life. That is reading beyond the lines. So what we are supposed to do? Of course, at initial stage we should get the meaning, but along with that we should understand what author wants to say. And most importantly, at part of, let us say, contemplation, you are supposed to find out what is there in the text for me to use, for the world to improve. That is reading beyond the lines. Always use these 3 levels of reading. There are certain strategies of developing effective reading skill. And what are those strategies? Of course, follow 5-hour rule, set your goals and start doing this. Get rid of habit of focalization, stop it, definitely try anyhow, you have to come out of that. Understand the gist, skimming and scanning will help you in that. Predicting the content, you have to predict the content. When you are reading, you have to predict that this will be the next result. As we do, when we are watching movie, we go on predicting the next scenes. Same way, when you are reading, you have to predict. Stress on quality, not on the quantity. You have read 10 novels, understood any? No. You have to focus on the quality. Inferring meanings in lexical and contextual terms. Like we have to infer, guess the meaning lexically. One word is there and you are not understanding the meaning of that. Try to guess based on the context. What is the context of the sentence? If it is, let us say, negative context and the difficult word is there, guess that it must be negative word, and guessing of that meaning, inferring the meaning of the words definitely helps us to become effective reader. Use this SQ3R method, particularly when you are reading, working for reading comprehension in your examinations. And I hope many of you know this. Survey, questions, read, recite, and review. We have to survey, that is just read the paragraph, read the questions, and then again read the paragraph or the passage given, recite, that is try to remember the things, and review. Note making. That is, you are supposed to make some notes that helps you to definitely be effective reader. Giving extended stretch of an hour plus. This is very important technique or strategies from all. Of course, all are important, but this is the best one. Why? What is that? You have to, what happens? We decide to read, we sit for reading, and we do not continue for more than first 10 minutes, 15 minutes. After 5 minutes, we start distracting, because that is natural. We cannot concentrate on anything beyond 5 minutes, right? So we get distracted. After 10 minutes, we leave it because of external distractions, because of internal distractions, because of lack of vocabulary, maybe because of you are not understanding what exactly author wants to say, maybe because you have some other tasks to be done. So what is the strategy? Give stretch of up to an hour plus. Do not leave reading at least before 1 hour. Even if so many important works are there, sit there for 1 hour and have a habit of this. Definitely you will find slowly you are actually getting again sticked and addicted towards reading, and after 30 minutes you start getting interest in the novel, in the reading, in that particular reading material. So stretching yourself for more than 1 hour definitely will help. Using colors for marking if you are reading, and if you use various colors to mark the information, that will help you to comprehend the information. Converting written information into pictorial form. The written information converted into pictorial form in imagination and keeping in mind. Prefer reading a book in hard copy. So of course we have so many resources available nowadays, and we have a habit of reading on our cell phones or the tabs or on the laptop and the screens. But my experience tells that that kind of reading does not give us pleasure. That does not make us effective. Of course there is no other alternative than that these days, but try to get a book, printed book, and try to read that. That gives great satisfaction to read. That is my experience. I may be wrong, but prefer reading a book in hard copy, at least in the initial stage. Once you get reading habit, go online, go on the digital platforms and go on reading. Why not or digital? I'm saying because there are distractions. When you are reading something, a message comes, you read that message, and it takes you in further chain, and you come back to your reading after 1 or 2 hours, and then you say, "Arey, what I read, I forgot. Again, let us start from the first." So to avoid that, I recommend reading a book. Okay, so the 3 important factors to be effective readers. Number 1, desire to improve. Second, motivation. That is self-motivation, intrinsic motivation. Nobody is going to come to you again and again and tell that read. You have to tell yourself. And conscious efforts. You should have desire to improve yourself. You get self-motivated, start reading, and keep consistency. Consciously, you are supposed to go on working on this. Now, these are some of the reading sources I'm giving. I'm not much read person, but whatever I have read, I can recommend for you. Whatever I have read, from that I can recommend you these books. And there are so many number of very good books I know available, and a different person may recommend you different. But let me tell you, if you are a beginner and if you want to improve your reading habit, Sudha Murthy's material resources is the great source. Read Sudha Murthy. All books are good, especially start with Wise and Otherwise, because they are the collection of short stories, very, very useful stories. It will help you to increase your reading speed. It will help you to improve your reading skill, as well as those stories will help you to improve your personality, because they are a very, very motivating stories, real life experience of Sudha Murthy. Wise and Otherwise, The Old Man and His God, and The Magic Drum, and other favorite stories. These 3 books which I have read and have found very interesting. Some other novels are also there, but to begin with, these are very interesting. As a professional, you must read the following books, and again, the books which I have read, I am recommending. There are so many other as well. You may have your own reading list. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Very, very effective, very, very useful. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Again, another gem of the books. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Excellent. Who Will Cry When You Die, my favorite recently, which I have finished, and it's really great book. Very short, but you cannot keep it aside unless you finish it. Of course, it is not the in book itself. It is recommended that you should not finish the book in one go. You have to read only one part and just leave it. But it is very interesting, and it is like a kind of reference book for you. If you want to learn how to behave, definitely keep this with you. Who Will Cry When You Die by Robin Sharma. Of course, his Monk Who Sold His Ferrari is also one more very good book. But then in comparison to that, I like this more. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by again Dale Carnegie, and Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. So these are some of the books I will recommend you to start with. Finish up reading these books. Start with this one. If you are read, I know there are so many participants who must have finished reading these earlier. Those who have not done, I recommend them to read these. And there is one good online resource where you will get all the information, and there are so many good resources given on this website. Find out which you may refer for your further reading improvement. Okay, let us move to next, that is writing now. I know it is getting extended, but I tried my level best to keep limited, but still I can not control it. But let us finish up the next part, writing part, in as minimum time as we can, but of course focusing the important part. Now, effective writing. Let us move to this effective writing, how this is helpful in transforming our communication skills. And the same, let me give you the task. Interpret this. Do you agree with the following quote? What is the interpretation? A quote by well-known essayist Francis Bacon, who says, reading makes a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. That deliberately I have taken because reading and writing we are studying simultaneously, and the quote is apt here. After learning reading, going to writing and knowing the importance. What is the interpretation? Put me in text section in chat box. How reading makes a full man? Why it is said that reading makes a full man? We have seen just now. If you are a good reader, you are a complete man. It is not gender specific here now. Man, human. Conference, a ready man, means what? Do not search on internet and tell your interpretation. I know that is favorite technique. Copy and paste on internet and get the information and put it. When we see various riddles, we have a bit of using this. And writing an exact man. Okay, so let me explain. Reading makes a full man. If you are reading, you are a voracious reader, a vast reader, you are becoming a full man, a complete human being. You are focused now. Conference, that is going and meeting the other intellectual people, it will make you ready man. It will increase your knowledge. It will tally your knowledge through discussions, through debates, through conferences and some other platforms where you go and discuss and share your knowledge, share your information. So conference, make a ready man. You are ready to face anybody now. You are ready to face any situation and guide the world. But if you are writing, that is making you exact man, exact human being. The writing displays what kind of personality you are. Writing displays what kind of knowledge you possess. We are going to see ahead. That is why writing exact man. You can find out what kind of person a person is either by his speaking or by his writing. If he is a very good writer, a blog writer on the news, in the newspaper, you will find yes, he is the person who writes very well, right? So writing an exact man. What Francis Bacon says there, you read the information, you share the information. Reading will make you full man. Sharing and discussing will make you definitely a ready man. But if you write down that information, write down that particular learning, it makes you exact man. And that is the importance of writing. With this, let's begin. Why effective writing is important? Again, this all is my conclusion. You know, I have not taken it from anywhere. This is my conclusion by reading many resources and experience so far. Only writing and speaking prove a person as a knowledgeable or a learned or not. That is, how will you come to know that a person is very knowledgeable, very scholar, very intelligent and learned, well-learned person? Unless you find something written by him, unless you find you listen his speech. Agree? Right? Suppose a person is there, you say, okay, you do not know anything about him, right? And you simply look at him and say, like an ordinary human being. But when you come to know that he is the person who has written the monk who has sold his Ferrari, Robin Sharma, or is it so? Immediately you change your approach, right? Immediately you change it and you come to a very knowledgeable person, very learned person, because writing and speaking are the active skills. They have something to exhibit. Written material, spoken material. That's why if you want to display your personality, your writing is important. Speaking is also important. You should be having a good writing habit. You should be a good writer. Then writing defines personality. As I told, your way of writing defines what kind of personality you have. Effective writer is clear thinker. If you are effectively able to write effectively, it means you are a clear thinker, you are a very good thinker. It simplifies the complex information, the complex process. Now, why all the manuals are available of all the equipment? Because it is a complex process and explaining that is not possible, right? So it is written and given. So if a complex process information is there, it is put in an effective manner and it is made simple through writing. It can be preserved for years. Written communication, as we have seen, that written communication can be preserved for years. So we have to write effectively. It serves as a legal proof, right? That is why we should know how to write in an acceptable way. And in professional context, almost all transactions are done through writing. Now, in actual professional context, you find out we are busy in writing letters, we are busy in writing reports, we are busy in writing notices, agenda, minutes, other kind of information, and so on. Most of the transaction is done with the help of writing. Now you will say ki it is based on presentations, because people give presentations and then they get the business. What is presentation? Presentation is also a part of writing. You are writing actually whatever points I have taken here, it's a part of writing. This is helping me in presenting in effective way. If I am not writing it effectively here, I definitely may not be present that effectively. So presentations, that is every business, every professional context, writing is important and the business is done. And of course, this is these days, I do not know how many of you are actually aware about this, that these days you can become rich, you can be a freelancer and can get maximum money by writing effectively on blogs. Blog writing is trend since long actually, but these days it has become very useful. Search on internet and find out that the bloggers are earning more than the professionals. What is blog? Just putting information on the internet on a particular site, and what do you do? If you want to get some information, you just search how to, simple, how to do this, how to do that, or what is, and you get the sites, you click, you read, you find the advertisements around. Those people who have written are earning through those advertisements. So if you are a blogger, good blogger, if you are going to write effectively, you are going to start your own profession, being freelancer, and you are going to no need to work anywhere and so on. Yes, it is challenging, I know, but if you get a direction, definitely you can become effective blogger as well. We are going to see in our next part. So these are the importance of writing skill. Why we are not effective writers? Let us see the reasons. Number one, over importance given to speaking. For a while, let me tell you this, that we have given more importance in improving our speaking skills and very less importance in our writing skills. Limited to academic work and examinations. When we write assignments, we write projects, we write the other written tasks given by our experiments given by our teachers, and we write in examinations. Finish. We do not write beyond that. Agree on this? We do not write anything else except few of us. I'm sure that we are doing, some of us are writing diaries and writing creatively, but let me tell you, the percentage definitely will not be more than 5 to 10% of us. 90% of us read only for the academic or write only for the academic purpose in the examinations or only when told by someone. Second, laziness. Why we are not effective writers? Because we are lazy. Instead of writing, what we feel, let me type and send. Now typing is also form of writing, I know, but writing with pen on paper gives you different experience, like reading a book physically and reading on digital platform. That is why we are very lazy and we use so many shortcuts. When even we are chatting, we are using so many shortcuts. That is hampering our writing skill. Lack of vocabulary. We start writing and we do not get the words to write in English specifically, and we use some other synonyms, or we do not write, we simply stop writing. We feel that writing is their domain. Who are there? They are the writers. We feel that I'm not able to write a story. Writing story is the story writer's task. How can I write a novel? It is novelist's task. No, it is not their task. It is not their domain. Everybody can write. We are not writing effectively simply because we never tried. Try it. Write down your own story. Everybody has his or her own story to tell. Let me tell you. Do you have your own story? Definitely you have. And you will feel that this is my unique story. Nobody has suffered so far. Nobody has lived this life so far. I am unique. Yes, everybody is unique. Everybody has the stories, and the stories are unique. Right? Write down your own story. You will find very interesting things when you are actually starting writing. Lack of clear thought process. Why we are not effective writers? Because we are not effectively thinking. We are not effectively, let us say, thinking on a particular part and not able to put on the paper. We just start writing, we get distracted and we stop. So that is the reason. Lack of motivation and willingness. Again, nobody is motivating us. We are not getting motivated and we do not will, right? We don't have will to write. That is why we are not effective writers. And of course, there are no guidelines available how to start writing and how to be effective writer. Of course, if you search, you will get on internet. And for all kinds of writing, there are different guidelines. But generally, how to become effective writer, there are no guidelines available. I do not say that guidelines are available and nobody is telling you. No clear-cut guidelines. You have to find your own guidelines, set those guidelines and start following and become effective writer. Now, how to write effectively? Let us see. Now, I cannot include everything about writing skills here, right? And in professional context, there are so many things about writing, but it is impossible. Already, the session is getting extended. So, what I will do, of course, the course 3.0 is exclusively dedicated for written communication in professional and business context, in which we are going to see all the business letters, how to write effectively, how to write resumes, technical reports, proposals, notice, agenda, minutes, synopsis, summary, blogs, email and other written. So this is 2.0. 3.0 will exclusively focus on improving, enhancing, transforming your written communication, because this is one of the ways of communicating now. Now, I hope you have received mails from me and you have read the mails, and I think that I'm writing in a convincing way. So how I'm reaching to you through that writing, and improving our writing is really very essential in professional context, and that's why I have kept all that exclusively in 3.0. When it will come, I cannot tell now, but definitely it will come and you will get information, you will get intimated as soon as I launch this particular course. Paragraph writing and blog writing and diary writing, this is what we are going to focus in this particular session. Paragraph writing, understanding it will help in all forms of writing, because any of these forms start with paragraphs. So words, phrases, sentences, paragraph. If you are able to write effective paragraphs, if you understand how to write paragraphs effectively, you will definitely write the bigger, let us say, a form of writing, the essays or the short stories or the novels or the business proposals and so on. We will see something on blog writing and my favorite, diary writing. So let's begin with the first one, paragraph writing, and let me give you a task here now. What you're supposed to do, read the paragraph I have taken it from one of the Oxford books. Read the paragraph and tell me, is it a good paragraph? I'll just pause for a while here. Go on reading. I hope the text is clear. I have tried my level best to scan it properly, adjust the brightness and contrast and make it highlighted. So let us read together. I'll read for you. Listen. Rabindranath Tagore was a great poet. He is known for the lyrical quality in his poems. Rabindranath Tagore was a multifaceted individual. His poems are wonderful for their musical appeal. Tagore was born in Bengal. His whole life was dedicated to the service of society and literature. Tagore, however, was not just a poet. In his poetry, we observe not just melody but also the commitment to change the social taboos. Tagore was a poet who had great associations with other great Indians. Even today, his songs are sung and heard by many. In fact, you cannot imagine Bengal and its culture without imagining Tagore. Mahatma Gandhi was one of those Indians with whom Tagore shared a lot of his intellectual perspectives. When Tagore died, he left millions of hearts crying behind. Is it a good paragraph? Is it an effective paragraph? How many say yes? How many say partial? How many say no? Put in comment section fast. Okay, to some it is yes, it is a good paragraph because it is giving information. To some it is average. I am getting the information but not organized. But those who are well aware about effective paragraphs will disagree with this. Why? Because look at this. Let me explain now. The passage begins with Rabindranath Tagore was a great poet. It means in this paragraph we are going to learn about poetry. Tagore and his quality as a literary man, as a poet. Because it is a topic sentence. We will see the parts of paragraph. So we feel ki okay, so let us know about Tagore as a great poet. He is known for lyrical qualities in his poems. Yes, continued the thought. Rabindranath Tagore was a multifaceted individual. Immediately it is stopped here. The flow is cut and the author is telling ki it is Tagore was a multifaceted individual. His poems, again now, okay, multifaceted individual, but not other faces are discussed here. Not other parts of his personality discussed. Again the same continued. His poems are wonderful for their musical appeal. Okay, we thought, okay, at least author is back on the poetic part of Rabindranath Tagore. But look at this. Tagore was born in Bengal. Actually, this should be the topic sentence of this paragraph. It should come first. Tagore was born in Bengal. Right. Then his whole life was dedicated to the service of society and literature. Again, distraction. What exactly? I'm sure the good readers or the readers, even common readers, they will not go beyond this line. They will read up to this and say, what exactly author wants to say? I'm not understanding. You will skip. We have a habit of writing like this. Let me tell you, friends. We go on just putting our thoughts on paper in unorganized manner like this. This is not effective paragraph. And we have this habit just putting on paper and showing this is what I have written. No, even we are writing in exams, we are just writing like this. Whatever comes in our mind, whatever we have recited, we put on, not in organized manner, completely in an unorganized manner. So let us go ahead. Tagore, however, was not just a poet. Transition now. Something different is coming. In his poetry, we observe, okay, we expect to something different. You know, it is very, very difficult to bear with this passage, this paragraph. Tagore, however, was not just a poet. We expect to tell some other part of his personality, but again back to poetry. In his poetry, we observe not just melody but also the commitment to change the social taboos. Alright, Tagore was a poet who had great associations with other great Indians. Who are they? Every day, nowhere. It is given here. Mahatma Gandhi was one of those. Even today, his songs are sung and heard by many. Where songs, literature, no any connection. Right. In fact, you cannot imagine Bengal and its culture without imagining Tagore. Talking about cultural aspects, Mahatma Gandhi was one of those Indians with whom Tagore was having good association, intellectual perspectives. And finally, anyhow, the paragraph ends. When Tagore died, he left millions of hearts crying behind. It is completely unorganized paragraph, and we have a habit of writing like this. So let us understand what is a paragraph. It is a group of sentences that introduces, presents, develops and winds up one main idea on a topic. One particular topic introduced, presented, developed, explained and concluded. Then we can say it is a effective paragraph. So there are two aspects of paragraph, features of paragraph, right? What are the features? A paragraph should have unity, coherence and progression or expansion. Unity is togetherness of ideas. Whatever ideas are, 2-3 ideas are given in that paragraph, they should be put in together. Coherence, there should be continuity of thought. Like, you know, in previous paragraph we have seen that Rabindranath Tagore was not just a great poet, and there was no any other aspect given. Even he was having many associations with many intellectual personalities from India. No, it is not given immediately, it is given after next sentence. So there is no coherence, there is no continuity, and progression, expansion, it is not expanded in a organized manner. The structure of paragraph, it has a topic sentence, a supporting details and concluding sentence, which is known as topic sentence as introducer, which introduces the paragraph, develops the paragraph and ends the paragraph, the terminator. Now read this, the revised version of the paragraph which we have just seen, the modified paragraph, and read and tell me how you feel after reading this. Born in Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore was a great poet. The topic sentence now. Great poet, born in Bengal. He is known for the lyrical qualities of his poems. His poems are wonderful for their musical appeal. All about poems is one idea is continually told. However, Tagore was not just a poet. He was multifaceted genius whose whole life was dedicated to the service of society and literature. Therefore, in his poetry, we observe not just melody but also a commitment to change the social taboos. Again, we are sticking to the poetry, Rabindranath Tagore as a poet. Because of his intellectual eminence, Tagore enjoyed a great association with other great Indians, and Mahatma Gandhi was one of those Indians with whom Tagore shared a lot of his intellectual perspectives. Continuity of thought. When Tagore died, after years of service to the domain of knowledge, intellect, art, music and culture, he left millions of crying hearts behind. Tagore's influence on Bengali culture is so significant that even today one cannot imagine Bengal and its culture without remembering Tagore. Perfect end. So this is, I know, of course, this is also not much effective paragraph, but in comparison with the first paragraph, this is the best, this is the influencing. Do you agree with this? Did you find the difference? I hope you have. So we should know that whenever we are writing, we have to divide that writing in paragraphs, and a paragraph must have these three features: unity, coherence and experience. And the parts, a topic sentence which introduces the paragraph, then supporting details on that topic sentence, and a terminator, the concluding remark. Like here, born in Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore was a great poet. It tells that this paragraph is for let us say describing Rabindranath Tagore as a poet, and the supporting details are given, and it is terminated by saying, ending the paragraph so that something is remembered. Tagore's influence on Bengali culture is so significant that even today we cannot imagine Bengal and its culture without remembering Tagore. So effective. It gives us, if you read this, you will definitely remember maximum information. Okay. Let us see now next how to paragraph writing. After that, how to write blogs. Now, I may not be able to give much of the information, but definitely whatever I have read and done so far, based on that, I can suggest you this. If you want to start writing blogs, do first thing, of course, you should write on papers first. I am not excluding that part. You should put your thoughts on paper, organize that in well manner, and then go on the online platform. So first, identify your speciality. What you are special in technical domain, in let us say computer science domain, in electronic domains, in service domain. You are good, you are special in taking reviews, you are special in literature, you are special in your own subject matter, in your own subject domain, whatever it may be. What is your specialty? Find out and start writing blogs on that. For example, I write on communication and personality development. So that is my domain. I have sufficient knowledge, I feel I have sufficient knowledge on that, so I can put it, which is helpful for the students, for the professionals. So I have identified my specialty and I have started writing on that. That is. Second, define your purpose. Why you want to write the blogs? Because you want to help the people to get the best knowledge, right? So you define your purpose. I want to write to give knowledge. I want to write to help people to buy the best car, best mobile phone, best electronic device. That is in review. I want to write to entertain the people. I want to write to educate the people. So define your purpose based on your specialty. Decide target audience. Very good. You have to decide who will be your target audience, what will be their age group, what will be their profession. Like in my case, my target audience is working professionals or professional students of professional, let us say, disciplines, right? Their communication skills, how to improve that, and how to transform their communication. So their resources, the target audience, start collecting resources now. Don't be dependent on only one, right? You have to be dependent on other sources and go online and find out the available sources and then start blogging. Refine your language and select title wisely. So you have to put audience at the center and then write. It should not come your thoughts on paper as it is and displayed. Keep the readers at center. How would you feel if you are reading the article? Like when you have identified your specialty, when you have identified your purpose and you have decided your target audience, now you have to just write in the language which your audience will understand. Particularly in English, I'm focusing. That will help you to enhance your communication skills. And when you are giving titles, choose them wisely. Structure it well, like need or the importance of that particular topic, some of the introductory details, and conclusion and appeal, like we have seen in the paragraphs. So you introduce, attract the attention by giving how this is really important and needful, then give the details step by step, and finally write something which makes appeal to your reader. Choose any good site. Go on website, you will find like Wix, WordPress, Blogger, Tumblr. These are the recent well-known blogging websites. Go there, open your account and start writing there. And of course, share those blogs with your friends on social media, with your teachers, with your colleagues, and ask for the suggestions. All right, so let me come up with the last part of this session now. Diary writing is my favorite writing skill, and this has helped me. Whatever I am in my life so far, one of the role played in that development is by writing daily diaries. So what I hope many of you are doing this, and many of you will agree with me that yes, daily diary writing is most useful for everyone. And the same I have experienced with others as well, that they have found it very, very useful, in planning, in execution, in, deciding, and even in getting the information. So when I say diary writing, it is daily diary writing for various purposes. If you have done this, if you are doing this, very good. And I hope you agree with me that this is useful. If you don't have, just start it. I know there are many who have started actually diary writing, who had started and stopped, or some are there who have started and kept, untouched your diary for last 3-6 months. Resume again. Write every day at specific time. You have to just get a diary, right? Not essential that you should go in the market and buy the diary of that particular year. I recommend that, though you can start writing in a separate notebook, plain notebook, no any other things in that notebook. It is exclusively dedicated for your daily writing. So at a specific time you should decide and you should start writing. In the evening I'll write, or in the morning as soon as I get up I write, or in the evening before I go to bed I write. Have this habit at a specific time, at least for 30 minutes or at least 1 or 2 pages in initial stage. What to write then? Start with writing about your daily routine and the planning. How to start writing? Okay, you start writing about your daily routine. Suppose you are writing before you go to bed, right? After you have your dinner and now you have dedicated those 30 minutes. So write down what did you do throughout the day, how you began your day, what was your experience, whom you met, what was your planning and what happened, what you did at what place, what you observed and what was your conclusion, right? Or okay, this is what I have done today. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. start with this. This is really one of the great steps of becoming a successful leader, a successful person. That is planning, reviewing and planning. So why not to take benefit of this, as well as develop our personality and develop our writing skill as well. Put all your emotions on paper in the diary. So whatever emotions you have, you are feeling angry, you are feeling disgust, you are feeling sad, you are feeling happy, you are feeling let us say nervous, everything, instead of expressing those emotions to some people, put that on paper. It is very important. We are going to see in one of the soft skills training, soft skill course, that the one of the great technique of Abraham Lincoln, who used to do what? He used to express all his anger for a person on a paper. Used to give some time, is known as relaxation time, cooling down period, and after some time he used to throw out that paper in the dustbin. That is, he used to get angry. What we do, we get angry and we react. No, he used to write in the diaries. Whatever he feels about a person, he write, abusing everything, he used to write in the diary. Because that is satisfying your mental ego. Because you are writing, the man is very bad, the situation is very bad, he has given me so much task, he has deceived me, he has made me fool, and so on. He goes on writing and so on. Giving cooling period 1, 2, 3, 4 days. After that, taking that page, tearing out and throwing in the dustbin. Because that relaxed him, satisfied his ego. He did not even react to that person, and maybe after some time the person changes and say sorry to you. So writing is that much effective, that much powerful. So coming back to the diary writing, after 1 month or so, now start writing specific. Now, of course, you can continue with your daily experience writing, but now write specific. Choose a particular part and write your opinions on any current affairs going on, any of the incidents that you experience, any of your observation that strike you. Sit together. Suppose I find that today I read in a newspaper that, or on television also, that this is happening in the world. What I feel, go on writing. Write your opinions. Now, after 1 month to 2 months, definitely it will make you intellectual person. But at that time, what you have to see, you have to look for exact words for your thoughts. Here it is okay if you are starting with general words and paraphrased words, and even if you don't pay much attention to your grammar, structure and mistakes, it's fine. And I'll recommend, do not look at grammar, do not pay attention to any of the mistakes here, do not look for the specific words. Whatever comes in your mind, go on writing. Try to be grammatically accurate, definitely, but don't worry about that. But after some time, yes, you have to look for the exact words. How can I explain this situation in exact word? Think on that. You will definitely get exact word and put your thoughts. Then review once in a week. Try to refine it. After writing, at the end of the week, say on Saturday or Sunday, just review what you have written throughout the week. This helps. Let me tell you, this is my experience. As I told you, diary writing is my favorite, and I have been writing diaries since 2000. Let me tell you, it is back in 2000 at least 8 I started, but up to 8, 9 and 10 I used 8 or 9 I used to write in notebooks. But after, since 2009 I have all my diaries with me. All those 11, 12 diaries are with me, and I can show you anytime. Right. So that has helped me in the initial stage. Whenever I was planning, thinking about anything, I used to write in diaries. I used to write, and that has helped me very great extent. Whenever I used to do my SWOT analysis, I have done this on paper in my diaries. And I'm sure that there are so many of participants who are of the same opinion, who are like me, who have been writing diaries, and that is helping them a lot. So review that once in a week. So after a week, I used to, so let us see now what we have done in last week. And even we forget that we have done something on the first day of the week. So that at least reminds. We forget that I planned this to be done on the first day of the week. But when we review, we get that back, as well as we find that how we are putting our thoughts now. And if you find, yes, here is the word which is not actually suitable, circle with pencil, change it. You find the sentence is not good, this is the great sentence, or this is not a refined one, with pencil just do the corrections. And I'm sure you will surprise and you will get satisfied yourself on your own writing, because you do not know that you are also a scholarly person unless you write and you read that again, revise it, review it once in a week and try to refine. And most importantly, if you feel fine, okay, you can share that writing with the people. Of course, sharing your personal thoughts, personal information, personal opinions, keep it limited to yourself, but at least your opinions, right, on a particular topics you are writing, write that and share with the people around you, the people who are very close to you, maybe your family members, your relatives, your close friends, your teachers, and take their opinions. Like-minded people should come together and do this. Okay, so now tips to improve writing skill, the last part of this session, and of course with one task, one homework for you. How to improve it? Number one, understand the need, why you should write, what is the need and who is going to refer your reading. Keep the readers at the center and then write. Whenever you are writing as a student, when you are writing as a professional, whenever you are writing as a teacher, you should always keep it in mind. Understand the need. For example, I have to give the notice, I have to give the information, the need. Who is the audience? Reader, students, teachers, professors, my colleagues or stakeholders, the parents, or who? We have to keep them at center and change your writing accordingly. Let me tell you, if you have to give some information to the students, you have to give the same information to the industry people, you have to give same information to the parents, and you have to give the same information to your colleagues. Do you write in the same way? If you are writing, then that is not good. Right? For students, we have different language, different style. For our colleagues, we have different. For our stakeholders, industrialists, and the parents, of course, we have very polite and very decorative language to tell. So our writing also changes, and keeping the readers in mind. Use familiar, concrete, specific words, avoid jargons. So familiar words which are known to that particular group of readers, concrete which have something to show, right, which are, let us say, understood, specific instead of generalizing, like the information about our college or the event will be, let us say, published in the newspaper. You are saying, which newspaper? You are not specific there. You are telling that it will be published in newspaper. Instead of that, you should say it will be published in the Times of India. Specific. And avoid jargons. Again, I guess I have told, jargons is a group of words used by specific domain people. Like if you are from, let us say, computer science background and you are using some specific words from that particular background, these are called as jargons. They may not be known by all. So we have to avoid using jargons. Use the familiar words. Avoid glitches. Some of the glitches are there, like the burning issue, last but not the least, and so on. There are so many glitches. Avoid them. Only if needed you are supposed to use. Avoid redundancy. Repetition of the message is one of the problems in writing. Redundancy is what? Repeating the same message in the same sentence. Like, for example, I always give this example to my students. Like, I have a grandmother and she is very old. You are writing these two sentences. I have a grandmother and she is very old. Now the word grandmother itself defines that it is old. Or sometimes I have a grandmother, she is a female, she is very old. I have a grandmother includes female, includes she is old. So avoid redundancy. We have to think on this. Avoid using same templates every time. This is my favorite tip. And this is my favorite technique. What is that? What happens? We have a set template for the notices. We have a set templates for circulars. We have set templates for Thanksgiving. We have set templates for invitations. Right? We have set templates for some other writings, particularly teachers. And what we do, we simply change the information, replace the names, replace the other information like day, date, details, time and all. And we go on circulating. No, don't do this. If you want to develop your writing skill, do not use your one template once used. And that is what I do. Whenever I draft a notice, when my higher authorities tell me, I do not take as it is from the previous template. I just start afresh and I go on writing. I go on typing. In the same way, Thanksgiving and all that, being English person, I have to write the invitations and Thanksgiving. So 2-3 times I refine definitely, right? But I do not take the previous as it is. whenever I find the new task, I just start with and I do all these. Let me tell you, I'm not boasting, but this is what I'm using. I understand, I think on the need, why, whether it is invitation for the conference, for the meeting or the seminar or what. Then I whom I'm inviting, what is the level of that person, what is the designation of that person, I keep that in mind, and will based on that, even if I'm from engineering, let us say background, I'm teaching there, whom I'm inviting, is he from the engineering or other, and then I select the words and write. Right? So do not use the set template, use every time new. You can refer your previous, no problem. You have already drafted a notice or the Thanksgiving note or the invitation, revise that, or let us say just go through that, refer that, but prepare your new afresh typing. That helps. Let me tell you, if you copy and paste, no learning, but if you start typing again, it is helping you in your intellectual development. That is my common experience. You may disagree with me, but this is what I have experienced, and I have found some of the people also doing the same thing. Strive for exact word for the concerned situation and the description. This is very important. How a particular word will define that situation or the description. Look for such words. Do not generalize. And write every day. Write something every day at a specific time. Join or create writers club and share. Join, there are so many writers clubs online, or you create your own and you go on, you decide that every day each one of us has to write something and share. You will find on the social media is the great platform now. On Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, there are so many blogs going on, so many clubs which are helping in writing. Join them, create your own, write and share, write and share. Definitely this will help you to become effective writer. These are the online resources which will help you to improve your writing skills, specifically in English. Grammarly.com, Grammar Girl, the Purdue Writing Lab, Thesaurus, and so you simply, I have taken it from one source, and I have referred, definitely I'm using Grammarly and all that to refine my grammar part and so on. Thesaurus is also a very good one. Grammar Monster is fine, and Pro Writing. Some of them are paid services, but the free services we can just use and refine our English writing. Please refer those, you will find them useful. So let me end this extended session. I was aware finishing 2 parts, reading and writing, is quite challenging for me as well as quite challenging for you also. But in regular class I can give it for 4 to 5 hours. But in this course, in this SDP, giving maximum information, minimum time is expected, and that is why I have taken limited part. Let me conclude this with this particular statement by Benjamin Franklin. Ultimately, what you should do, either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. Full stop. Do something so that somebody writes on you, or write something so that somebody interestingly reads that. Reading and writing, both the skills are included in the sentence in this particular quote. I began with a very good quote, I hope. In between, when I turned to writing, again very good quote was there, and ending with this very effective quote. I hope you agree with this, and you will do any of these two. Either write to be read, or do something so that a person like me write on you. With this, let me thank you for attending this session, and this is the task, this is the activity you are supposed to do. Go to this website, 19 Powerful Techniques to Build a Reading Habit 2020, which is available here, and read those techniques. Join. This is very interesting. There is one app on Play Store. I know, I don't know how many of you are aware about this and how many of you are using Booklet app. There is, simply search on Play Store. There is a Booklet app. It is, what that Booklet is, and I'm following him. I'm using it since his beginning, 4 or 5 years back he started, and I have provided some of the suggestions for him to the person of that particular app. What he does, he reads all the good books available in the world, right? Whatever available and whatever of his capacity, he reads and summarizes that in very short part and puts on his Booklet app. So it is very good to begin reading. Instead of reading a book, you have to read the summary, and he is writing in a very good manner. Start reading those summaries, and you can suggest him the book. Already he has summarized so many good books, and he takes the suggestions from the readers, he reads it and he summarizes, and he has a very good technique. So as a beginner, download the app and search for any book. You will find the summary and start reading those summaries. Third, prepare. Now this is writing task, and this is going to be longer task. Prepare session wise elaborative report on your learning from all the sessions of this program and in a Google Sheet, and share the link with me by 30th June 2020. So what you're supposed to do, create a Google Sheet, give the title FDP SDP course 2.0 on transforming communication skills. Session 1, what you learned. Session 2, what you learned. Session 3, what the session was about, what you learned. Session 4, 5, 6. You have to prepare like this, and you have to share the link with me. So you can create and share the link with me, only with me. If you want, if you want to share, you can share with other people as well. What I'll do, I'll go through your writing, and as I get time, I'll give you suggestions. We'll give feedback on your writing. So you can simply write a report of session 1, create the link and share with me. And whenever you just update, I will come to know that you have updated, and I will go through that. So that is the written task which you are supposed to do. These are the books and websites which I have referred for this session. And I hope I have made some sense and you have got some useful information in today's session as well. Thank you very much for attending this extended session. Thank you very much for patiently watching this entire session. And I hope you have got something new. Thank you again. See you in last session, which is on thinking and speaking skill. See you.